Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the English Daily Book Summary YouTube channel. In order to not stop learning, listen to an English book summary every day for free.
Penny Poulin, Virtual Leadership, Strategies for Getting the Best Out of Virtual Work and Teams. Have you ever wondered what makes virtual teams thrive? Maybe you're already experiencing the freedom and flexibility of working remotely, connecting from a cozy home office, a bustling cafe, or even somewhere halfway across the globe. Or perhaps you're curious about how remote collaboration can open new doors. Wherever you are in your journey, understanding the dynamics of virtual teamwork can influence your success and satisfaction. In this Blink, you'll explore a fresh perspective on remote work that goes beyond just tools and technology. You'll discover how shifting your mindset and adapting your leadership approach can transform your team's connection, trust, and productivity. By the end, you'll feel more confident, clear, and ready to collaborate from anywhere. The foundations of virtual leadership. Virtual teams have become the norm in today's fast-paced work environment. Often, at least one team member works from a different location, connected through technology rather than face-to-face interactions. The COVID-19 pandemic may have accelerated this trend, but the move toward virtual work was already underway thanks to globalization, technological advancements, and shifting work preferences. The benefits of virtual work are game-changing. You can tap into top talent no matter where they live, offer flexibility to your team, and provide around-the-clock service by handing off tasks across time zones. But these advantages come with their fair share of obstacles. Without the natural visibility of an office setting, people who aren't physically present may slip off the radar and be forgotten or overlooked. This is especially tricky in hybrid setups with some in-person and some remote teammates. Building trust, the bedrock of great teamwork, also takes more time and effort virtually, and it can vanish in a flash. Those informal water cooler chats that help forge relationships in person just don't happen naturally online. Virtual team members have to go out of their way to create moments of connection, and as a result, virtual work can blur the lines between professional and personal life if you're not careful. Conflict is another tricky area in virtual environments. It's harder to pick up on subtle cues like furrowed brows or crossed arms that signal brewing tensions. Everything might seem fine on the surface, until major conflicts suddenly boil over. By the time these issues come to light, they've often spiraled far beyond what would have happened in person, where early warning signs would have been apparent. But the challenge cited by over 3/4 of virtual workers surveyed is engaging remote participants. When someone is just a face on a screen rather than a physical presence in the room, their mind can easily wander. Picture a design engineer dialing in as the sole remote participant for an all-day meeting. While his in-person teammates collaborate with high energy, he's struggling to stay focused for 8 hours straight from his desk. By the time they finally need his input, he's mentally checked out, an all-too-common experience for remote attendees. Rising to these challenges demands a radical rethinking of leadership. Old-school command and control methods, where bosses directly oversee work and make all the key calls, simply don't fly in virtual settings. Instead, successful remote leaders focus on self-awareness, strong relationships, smart tech, and navigating distance, time zones, and culture to foster collaboration instead of control. This new facilitative leadership style paves the way for virtual teams to thrive. Thinking like a leader. Successful virtual leadership also requires a mindset shift. When you can't physically see your team members throughout the day or easily check on their progress, you need to develop a leadership style founded on trust rather than control. This transition starts with self-awareness. Before you can effectively lead others virtually, you need to understand your own preferences, biases, and natural inclinations. Do you value immediate responses? Do you unconsciously prioritize team members you see regularly? Do you struggle with uncertainty when you can't physically observe work in progress? In virtual settings, These once normal tendencies can become major obstacles if left unchecked. Effective virtual leaders recognize that motivation functions differently for remote knowledge workers. Rather than using monitoring or incentives to drive performance, they focus on three key motivators: purpose, autonomy, and mastery. Purpose connects team members to meaningful work beyond daily tasks. Autonomy gives people control over how they accomplish their work, free from micromanagement. Mastery provides opportunities to develop valuable skills and expertise. Together, these motivators create a level of engagement that surveillance won't ever match. Picture two project managers handling similar virtual teams. The first, holding on to traditional methods, requires team members to report their activities hourly and installs tracking software to monitor screen time. Team morale plummets, and talented members start looking for work elsewhere. Meanwhile, the second manager focuses on clarifying the project's customer impact, establishes clear outcomes versus processes, and creates learning opportunities within project tasks. Her team not only completes their work successfully, but also develops stronger problem-solving skills and deeper commitment. The attitudes you bring to virtual leadership are just as important. Patience becomes critical when technology fails or communications are delayed. Comfort with uncertainty allows you to proceed despite having less immediate information than you might in person. Courage helps you address emerging issues directly rather than hoping they'll resolve on their own. These qualities don't come naturally to everyone, but they can be developed through practice and reflection. Your virtual identity also requires consideration. In an office, people form impressions of you based on your appearance, how you interact with colleagues, your workspace, and countless other subtle signals. In virtual environments, these are replaced by different elements: your communication style in writing, how you structure meetings, your response time to messages, and your presence on video calls. Each becomes part of your virtual identity, creating impressions that influence how effectively you can lead. Ultimately, virtual leadership involves developing an inside-out approach. By beginning with your own mindset before addressing team dynamics, technology, or other external factors, you provide the solid ground upon which effective virtual collaboration can be built. Building trust and team structures. Once your mindset is in place, the next step is building the relationships that keep virtual teams strong. Technology bridges the distance, but trust is what truly brings a remote team together. And in virtual settings, trust isn't just important. It's harder to cultivate and requires careful attention to three key layers. First, there's personality-based trust, which arises from the relationships between team members. In an office, this happens organically through casual chats. Virtually, it takes intention. Brian, who manages a global financial services team, realized this when his local group expanded internationally. To bridge the gap, he invited Indian partners to the UK for extended visits, so they could form in-person relationships before transitioning to remote work. The result? Smoother communication, fewer misunderstandings, and stronger collaboration. Next is cognitive-based trust, which comes from demonstrating competence and reliability. In a virtual setting where you can't just observe someone's work, people need to see proof of each other's skills. Elizabeth, who manages multiple remote teams, tackled this by making completed deliverables visible to everyone. This transparency helped teammates recognize each other's expertise, building confidence in their collective abilities. The third layer, institutional-based trust, relies on fairness and consistency. When team members believe processes are equitable, they're more engaged, even across different time zones and employment conditions. A pharmaceutical project manager addressed this by openly acknowledging and adjusting for disparities in leave policies, ensuring all team members felt valued despite policy differences. How a team is structured also affects how these trust layers develop. For simpler short-term projects, a star structure works well, where the leader serves as the central hub, minimizing the need for direct collaboration between team members. Tricia, a quantity surveyor, used this approach to quickly gather information from various stakeholders, completing what seemed like an overwhelming project in just 2 weeks. For more complex, collaborative projects, a spaghetti structure, where team members are highly interconnected, encourages creative problem-solving. But as teams grow, this structure can become unwieldy, which is why smaller virtual teams often outperform larger ones. To strengthen connections across distance, leaders can use simple but effective tools. Team picture maps help members visualize where their colleagues are located, making global teams feel more tangible. And regular lessons learned reviews create a safe space to reflect on challenges and improve without placing blame. At the end of the day, technology keeps remote teams connected, but trust is what makes them truly work. By intentionally building these layers of trust, structuring teams wisely, and using practical tools to bridge the distance, virtual leaders can create teams that thrive, no matter where everyone is logging in from. Mastering the virtual meeting. Once you've established trust as the foundation of your virtual team, you can turn your attention to those key moments when people connect in real time. Virtual meetings. Even though these touchpoints make up only a small part of collaboration, they're where relationships are reinforced and decisions take shape. The challenge is making them meaningful instead of just another draining video call. That's where the Magic 6 framework comes in. This simple but powerful approach transforms nebulous meeting invites into intentional connection by defining 6 key elements before anyone joins: purpose, goals, agenda, roles, interaction norms, and follow-up. The result? Fewer aimless discussions, more engagement, and a clearer sense of why each participant is there. Take a financial services team struggling with low participation in their virtual meetings. Initially, sessions followed a traditional format. Executives talked, and everyone else listened or zoned out. Attendance dropped week after week. Then a new leader introduced Magic 6. Suddenly, meetings started with clear objectives and assigned roles. Simple agreements, like stating names before speaking and keeping cameras on when possible, created psychological safety and clarity. What used to feel like a time sink turned into productive, focused conversations. So why is virtual attention so much harder to hold than in-person focus? In a physical meeting, social norms prevent distractions. Checking emails or walking out mid-conversation would be awkward, right? But in a virtual setting, those constraints disappear, while new distractions take over. That's why great virtual leaders design for this reality. One trainer swapped static slides for live whiteboard drawings, making meetings feel dynamic and interactive. An engineering lead reframed dry technical updates as stories about improving patient lives, creating an emotional hook that kept people engaged. Techniques like round-robin participation ensure everyone contributes, rather than a few voices dominating the conversation. Technology should be used strategically, not just out of habit. Video fosters connection, whiteboards encourage visual thinking, and breakout rooms allow deeper discussions. A well-structured meeting might open with video for rapport building, shift to a collaborative doc for brainstorming, then return to video for final decisions. And let's not forget another crucial factor: meeting length. Virtual attention starts fading around the 30-minute mark. Breaking long sessions into focused 25-minute blocks with short breaks prevents burnout and keeps people sharp. When designed with intention, virtual meetings aren't just a necessary evil, they become powerful moments of connection. By leveraging the strengths of digital tools and respecting how people actually think and work, we can make virtual collaboration feel less like a chore and more like an opportunity. So let's rethink what meetings can be and unlock the full potential of our remote teams. Staying productive between meetings. While virtual meetings are great for real-time connection, most remote work happens in between those calls. True productivity comes from asynchronous collaboration, when people can contribute at their own pace. These stretches of independent work allow for deep focus and flexible schedules, especially when structured well. This flexibility is a game changer for globally distributed teams. Take Avi, a multilingual talent consultant in Greece. She starts work at 11 a.m. to sync with European clients, then continues into the evening to collaborate with her American colleagues. Instead of forcing rigid schedules, async tools let her work when she's most productive, so projects keep moving without anyone making big sacrifices. But for async work to thrive, organization is key. If project details are scattered across personal drives or buried in endless email threads, teams waste time just tracking things down. A software development team struggled with this exact issue. 40% of their working hours went to searching for updated documents or figuring out who made what decision. Their fix? A single centralized workspace with clear naming rules and dedicated folders for every project that instantly reclaimed their productivity. Visibility is another challenge. In a remote setup, you can't just glance across the room to see what your teammate is working on. Ganesh, a business analyst in India, solved this with visual project boards. Tasks moved step by step through a shared digital space, keeping everyone on the same page without constant check-ins. And then there's managing distractions. Working from home blurs the line between work and personal life, and notifications constantly pull focus. A marketing team tackled this by implementing 90-minute deep focus sessions with structured check-in times. The result? Better concentration and higher quality output. Performance tracking also needs a mindset shift. Some managers mistakenly equate online availability with productivity. One consulting firm fixed this by shifting focus to outcomes, not hours logged. They set clear expectations for deliverables, then gave employees the autonomy to achieve them in their own way. This built trust, accountability, and better results. Proving remote work doesn't have to mean micromanagement. When leaders thoughtfully balance synchronous and asynchronous work, remote teams become more than just functional. They become high-performing. Clear communication, structured workflows, and trust can actually turn distance into an advantage, making location far less important than collective success. In this Blink to Virtual Leadership by Penny Pullen, you've seen that leading virtual teams isn't just about managing from a distance. It's about building trust, fostering connection, and creating a clear purpose. Success starts with self-awareness, understanding your own mindset, motivations, and communication style. When you shift from supervising to empowering, your team feels more engaged, valued, and motivated. Thoughtfully structured meetings can help maintain attention and strengthen relationships, making every interaction count. You've also explored the balance between synchronous and asynchronous work to maintain productivity without sacrificing flexibility. By clarifying responsibilities, nurturing trust, and using technology with intention, you can bridge gaps across time zones and cultures. Ultimately, great virtual leadership comes down to helping your team do their best work, no matter where they are. Okay, that's it for this Blink. We hope you enjoyed it. If you can, please take the time to leave us a rating. We always appreciate your feedback. See you soon.